The MCG is widely regarded as the sporting hub of Australia and a field of dreams. Today, we uncover its rich and vibrant history. So, in 1853, the MCC was granted a new site in Richmond Park, known as the Police Paddock. Their original paddock was to be destroyed for the South Melbourne Railway extension along the Yarra River. So from here, numerous grandstands were built as the early development, with the original members' stand constructed in 1854, a 2,000-seat grandstand in 1861, and a multi-purpose stand for cricket and footy on the adjacent paddock. This also facilitated the England cricket team's visit in 1877, which was the first test match on the G, where Charles Bannerman became the first Australian to score a test century. It was 1879 when a military match between the Collingwood Rifles and East Melbourne Artillery was played. 2 years later, in 1881, the original members' stand was sold to make way for a classy new brick stand. The multi-purpose stand was also replaced by a grandstand seating 4,500 public and 450 members. This same year, electric lights began construction on the G, completed in 1900. Stands continued to be built and destroyed in the early 1900s, with construction of the Harrison and Wardwell stands, which together accommodated 12,000 people. A second brick stand was replaced for roughly €60,000, along with the Harrison and Wardwell stands, making way for the well-known Southern stand, that increased the G's capacity to 84,000 people. It is also worth noting that in this time the Victorian Football League had been founded and the Melbourne Football Club was playing their home games here. In World War II, the MCG served as a military camp, and despite several players leaving to serve, the VFL season continued on, with Essendon, Richmond, Melbourne, Fitzroy and Carlton enjoying premiership glory. After World War II in 1956, the old grandstand was replaced by the Northern Stand in time for the 1956 Olympics, where Betty Cuthbert, the Golden Girl, became the first Australian to be a triple gold medalist, and the 1956 VFL Grand Final, won by Melbourne, which was attended by 115,000 spectators. In 1967, the Graysmiths and concrete stands were replaced by the Western Stand for the record-attended 1970 VFL Grand Final between Collingwood and Carlton of 121,000 people. In the 1980s, the stadium's capacity was reduced due to new corporate suites on the Olympic stand, reducing sitting and standing capacity. The first colour scorecard was introduced to replace the old one in 1982. In 1985, the current light towers were installed in time for the 1992 Cricket World Cup final. And the Southern Stand was replaced through donations due to concrete cancer. Later, in 1994, a second video screen was added. During the early 2000s, the 1928 members stand, the Western Stand and the Olympic stands were merged as one for the 2006 Commonwealth Games and in time for the 2006 AFL Grand Final, won by the West Coast Eagles. It costed $400 million and increased capacity to 100,000 people. 8 years later, in 2011, facilities in the Great Southern Stand would be upgraded for $55 million. The MCG is now a modern hub for Melburnians to worship their sporting heroes. There have been talks about a redevelopment of the Great Southern Stand that would increase the capacity. However, many people believe that it is not needed. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching this video. There will be more like this coming your way very soon, but until then, goodbye.